This is my January book recap, and whoa, what a month it was. I feel like I have had two bangers in 1 month and two of the best books that I've ever read in my life in this 1 month. It was amazing. It was such a treat to read these two books, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. So let's start with the first books that I started the year with. And those were the three books from the Kindred Curse saga, which is written by Penn Cole, and it starts with The Spark of the Everflame. I absolutely was engrossed in these books. It was so hard for me to stop reading. I went through these three books in a matter of days. Like, I think I read them through 4 or 5 days. I was done with all three books. Although the books are very entertaining, I do not like the FMC. I still am okay about her. I just did not like her at all in the first book. She did not stand for her principles, what she believed in as a healer, as a person who was supposed to help other people. And she was kind of confused about her own principles. So I didn't like her at all. I did like the MMC a lot. And I feel like I kept going because of the MMC. He is more of a touch or die kind of a MMC. He is very broody and intense, and I liked him a lot. But as I started reading more about the book, I loved the world building that is going on in the book. I loved their magic system. It was really interesting and entertaining. And the third book has ended on a cliffhanger, which makes me want to read the fourth book even more. So if you don't like cliffhangers, I would recommend not picking up this series yet because it is amazing. And people are getting mad about the fact that there is no release date on the fourth book yet. But it is good, nonetheless. It is a really entertaining read, and I would highly recommend it. Here is how I would rate all the books. The first book was probably a 3-star read. Second book was probably a 3.5-star read. Third book, I did enjoy quite a bit, and that was a 4-star read. The next is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And if you like Regency romances and also like romantasy, this is the book for you. Pick this up. It is a more lighthearted, kind of whimsical Regency era tale that talks about a heroine who has lost half of her soul to a fairy and how she deals with her life just not feeling half of her emotions. And I thought that take was so interesting, and there are more deeper meanings to that. But overall, the book read as a more lighthearted book, even though there are things that the author writes about from the FMC's perspective where she just doesn't feel the things the way other people are. Maybe that is meant to represent people who are on the spectrum or people who don't feel emotions the same way as other people do. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too deeply into it and maybe the author didn't even think about it like that. But I felt like it was a very interesting take from other person's point of view who doesn't feel all the emotions the way we do. And I'm a very emotional person, and I go through the gamut of different feelings. So this was a very interesting read for me. A Half a Soul, I would rate it 3.75 stars. It was good, but it didn't hit the spot for me for this month. And maybe it's just because of the other books that I'm reading. So I'm sorry. It's being compared to some of the best books I read this month. It's not a story that's gonna live rent-free in my brain. And the next book was hands down one of the best books I have read this decade, and that is The Will of the Many by James Islington. Wow. 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 What a book. Just amazing. I love this book. I love the main character so much. I want to root for him all the time. I was rooting for him before I knew him well in the book, and the more I knew him, the more I rooted for him. He's amazing. I love the author's writing style too. It is, in some ways, it feels so casual about certain things. The way he writes, in some ways, it feels so intense. It makes me think about things in a different way. It made me angry. It made me emotional. It wrecked me. The ending was so hard. I would say if you're reading the ending, if you're towards the end, have an emotional support person, animal, pet, or even a stuffy with you, because It was rough. It was rough, but it was good. I can't wait for the next book. It was so good. I went back and reread a lot of it afterwards. And I think I have been a slow reader this month. 8 or 9 books is in no way, shape, or form slow. But I feel like for me, I have been so involved in this book and book that I'm going to talk about next that I've just been thinking about them nonstop. I reread The Will of the Many again after I put it down because I was like, wait, what happened here? And then what was this thing that they talked about? And yeah, I have so many questions and there's so many things I want to know. I can't wait for the book too. I would definitely recommend picking it up. Pick it up when you have some time though, because it is going to devour your days and nights. It just like it did to me. It just took over everything. That's all I was doing. The Will of the Many by James Allington is a 6-star God tier book for me. Yeah, I know. If it's 5 stars, it's like amazing read. Yes, I would love to go back and reread it. But when it goes to 6 stars, it's just living here. I think about it all the time. And that's how this book is for me. I always think about it. I go back to scenes with Viz and why certain things happened. And oh yeah, it just is there. And then we come to the next book that I read, and that is The Fourth Wing. So I read Fourth Wing in preparation to The Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I wanted to read Fourth Wing, I wanted to read Iron Flame, and then I wanted to read Onyx Storm. Because of Will of the Many, I didn't get to Iron Flame because I didn't have enough time, and I only got through Fourth Wing. And I understand why I was in love with it last year. I get it. I love it, and there are no two ways about it. I just love the book so much. I reread Iron Flame in snippets because I had to go back and reference certain things in it, and I don't understand why people were so upset with it. Maybe I get why you are upset with it after reading Fourth Wing, but I think we needed all that information, especially now. And I think with Onyx Storm, Rebecca has taken romantasy and mashed it up with epic fantasy, because this is not romantasy anymore, or not just romantasy anymore. And then we come to the next book, that is Onyx Storm, which has taken over my entire 10 days of January. That's all I've been living, eating, breathing, because I read the book in, I think, 2.5 days. But then I reread the book and I thought about it and I went into a huge book slump after that, because since January 21st till today, past 10 days, all I've been thinking about is this book. It is amazing. Even if I'm reading or trying to read another book, I go back and I think about a line that Satan said to Violet, or that Riddick said, which makes me crack up, or something that Andarna said. And it just goes on and on. I can't get it out of my head. It lives rent-free in my head now. Yes, this has also become a God tier book for me. If you feel that there is too much information in Onyx Storm, then you have not reread Iron Flame and Fourth Wing. And I would recommend doing that, because there is a lot of information in there that comes up in Onyx Storm. And I was like, wait, who are these characters? And that was because I had not read Iron Flame. And if I would have read it, I would have been like, I know exactly who it is. But yeah, it's a lot of people, a lot of characters. Remember, this is book 3 in a 5-book series. So it's not just going to be one and done. There's not just going to be like 5 characters and we're done with it. No, there are a lot of characters. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of things happening. And there are reasons for everything. It is building towards what is going to be book 4 and then book 5. So be patient with it and read it, but I would recommend it so much. Oh my gosh, the romance is so beautiful. The characters are developing. The characters are growing as I would expect them to grow from the age they were. And I think that you can see in the way they talk to each other and the way the love has grown. A lot of the times in romantasies, especially when we are reading 3-4 book series, sometimes the romance and the love doesn't grow at all. And I feel that is not the case with Zayden and Violet. The way they felt about each other in Fourth Wing was, high school crush, college crush. Oh, I like this guy. He's so hot. In Iron Flame, it kind of goes deeper where they start understanding each other, can't trust each other because of the lies. It's more of a young relationship versus where they are now in Onyx Storm, where they're like, you are my person and I'm gonna ride or die with you. And wow, just It's just, I love it so much. I love it and I would highly recommend it. I've made a lot of shorts on it, so go ahead and watch it if you want to see more of my reactions while I was reading it. Oh my gosh. Even in the middle, there are things happen that wrecked me when I wasn't even invested so much in that character. And she still made me feel all the things and the gamut. And so imagine what we went through in the last chapter. If you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was hard. And with Onyx Storm, 6-star, God tier book for me. Fourth Wing, when I read it, yeah, I would have given it 5 stars, maybe. Yeah, I would have given it 5 stars or 6 stars, maybe 6 stars. Iron Flame was kind of like 4.5 stars for me. I still enjoyed it, but not as good as Fourth Wing. But with Onyx Storm, I absolutely loved the book. Yeah, it just lives rent-free now. Forever in my brain. I don't know if that's ever going to change and what other book will take me out of this. But we'll see. If you have read Onyx Storm and The Will of the Many or any of these other books, please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are and how you're coping with post-Onyx Storm reading slump, because it was hard. The next book that I read was Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. And this was an interesting read. It's a gothic romantasy that brings to you a deadly competition, kind of Squid Games, with necromancy and a spicy romance. I hadn't read any books with necromancy before. The only complaint I have, I guess, which, I mean, I shouldn't have this complaint because this is a dark romance, is I found some of the games quite gruesome. And if you've seen Squid Games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you liked the show, I think this is something similar and you might actually like, because the story was very good. I liked the story. I just didn't enjoy some of the gruesome parts, and that pulled me out of the story. I think rather than enhancing the story for me, which actually was very interesting, and I was rooting for the FMC and the MMC, the gruesomeness kind of pulled me out of that, but that was just my take. So I would give it a 3 stars. The next book that I started reading was Legend Born by Tracy Dion. This book is an Arthurian modern retelling and follows the journey of 16-year-old Bree, who goes to UNC, and then while she's in college, she falls into, accidentally, maybe not, into this secret society of Arthurian legends and the Round Table. And wow, what an amazing take. I love the concept of this book. The author has written this so well. This book is so deep and there are so many layers. She makes us think about so many different things. Sometimes we have not thought about, sometimes we have not experienced. It's amazing in terms of how well it's written. And I am only 40% into the book. And I'm telling you, it was amazing. This was the book that got me out of my reading slump. It was absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to talk more about it once I'm done with this. It is a 3-book series. 2 books are out. I'm going to read the next book in my Feb TBR. And the 3rd book actually is coming out in March. I think it's coming out somewhere first week of March. So I'm actually excited about it. This is, I think, another series that's going to be in my top 5 series of books. It is really good, but I'm only halfway through it, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for the rest of the book. If you have any amazing recommendations, put them in the comments below. And if you're looking for some of my favorite romantasy recommendations, check out this video right here.